Hey everyone. As software architects, we're always on the hunt for tools that give us that flexibility and efficiency, right?
Absolutely.
And that's why we're diving into Strapi today.
Yeah,
It's this headless CMS that's really been making waves.
it has for good
And
reason.
today we're going to really get into why Strapi might be that secret weapon you've been searching for.
Yeah, from an architect's perspective, what's really fascinating about Strapi is that it tackles some of those core challenges of modern development, like decoupling, being API centric,
Yeah,
needing things that are robust but customizable.
right.
It's more than just a content management system.
Yeah.
It's like a foundation for building these really flexible and scalable applications.
I think the key here is that headless approach, right?
Hmm.
We've all been there, dealing with the limitations of those traditional CMS platforms that kind of force that tight coupling
Oh,
between
yeah,
the front end and back end.
definitely.
But with Strapi, we're separating those concerns, and it just opens up so many possibilities for architectures.
Exactly. It gives us that freedom to choose the best technologies for both the front end and the back end
Right.
so we can build the best system,
Yeah.
for what we need.
Yeah.
Imagine you need to build a web application and a mobile app
Okay.
that share the same content.
Yeah.
With Strapi, you could have a React front end for the web app,
Right.
native iOS or Android for the mobile app,
Yeah.
and both of them can just seamlessly interact with the same Strapi backend.
Nice.
That kind of flexibility.
It's hard to achieve.
It's really hard to achieve with the traditional CMS platforms.
That's a great example. And I
Yeah.
think it really highlights that power of Strapi's API-first approach,
Mm-hmm.
which is something that, as architects, we should be really excited about.
Yeah, definitely.
It's like we're treating content as data
Yes.
that can be accessed and used across different platforms and different applications
Right.
through this, robust, RESTful API.
Precisely. It's like a centralized content hub
Okay.
that can really be the backbone for your whole digital ecosystem.
So we've talked about how Strapi offers that flexibility
Yes.
in terms of decoupling and the API-centric development.
Hmm.
But let's talk about content modeling,
Okay.
because as architects, we know every project has unique content requirements,
Definitely.
and they can get complex.
They can.
How does Strapi help us create those custom content structures?
Well, one of the things that sets Strapi apart is that content modeling system.
Okay.
It's really powerful and intuitive, and you're not locked into a structure.
Okay.
You have that flexibility to define your own content types and tailor them to your needs.
Okay.
So imagine you're building an e-commerce platform. You might have a product content type
Yeah.
with fields like name, description, price,
Hmm.
images,
Mhm.
even relationships to other content types like category or brand.
That's a great point,
Yeah.
because being able to define those relationships is crucial.
Oh, yeah.
Especially with those complex data models.
For sure.
You can actually create a structure that reflects the relationships,
Mm-hmm.
the dependencies within your application.
Absolutely.
That's really cool.
And it goes even further, offering things like custom fields and validations.
Oh, nice.
So if you need to add a specific type of field,
Yeah.
like a color picker or a location selector,
Yeah.
you can easily extend the functionality of your content types.
Got it.
And with validations, you can make sure that the data being entered meets your criteria,
Right. That's important.
keeping your data nice and clean.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It sounds like Strapi doesn't just stop at the basics.
Nope.
There's features like real-time collaboration,
Yeah.
version control,
Yes.
role-based access control,
They
RBAC. Those are all super critical for us, especially when we're working in teams.
Absolutely. These features are essential for, smooth workflows, keeping that data integrity.
Right.
So, multiple team members can work at the same time without overwriting each other.
Right.
Version control lets you track changes, revert back if needed, safety net for updates.
Yeah.
And with RBAC, you control who has access to what,
Hmm.
keeping that sensitive information protected, making sure content creators have the right permissions to do their job.
Those are features that, as architects, we kind of expect from a mature CMS. So it's great
Definitely. Definitely.
to see that Strapi has taken those aspects seriously.
Mm-hmm.
But what about security?
Huh?
We're often dealing with sensitive information.
Right.
Security is always a top priority.
Yeah.
So how does Strapi handle that aspect?
So security is a core part of Strapi.
Okay.
It uses this layered approach to protect your data and application,
Okay.
like strong password policies, two-factor authentication to keep out unauthorized access.
Makes sense.
And then you have those robust API security measures,
Yeah.
like rate limiting,
Okay.
input validation to protect against vulnerabilities.
So we can be confident that the content we manage in Strapi is secure and protected from threats.
Absolutely. They're always adhering to best practices.
Okay.
It's constantly being updated to address those new threats.
Got it.
It's crucial in today's landscape,
Yeah, for sure.
where these breaches are just becoming more sophisticated.
Right. And that brings us to scalability.
Okay.
We need to know that the tools we choose can handle those demands
Yes.
of growing applications, increasing traffic.
Right.
So how does Strapi stand up in terms of scalability?
Strapi is built to scale.
Okay.
You can put it on those cloud platforms, AWS or GCP,
Yeah.
and it's designed to be very performant,
Okay.
efficient.
Good.
It uses caching to speed up content delivery and reduce that server load.
So as our projects scale and the content grows, we can be confident that Strapi will keep pace and deliver that content quickly.
Yeah, it's designed to be flexible with scaling, whether that's adding more resources to one server or spreading your application across many servers.
That's great to hear.
Yeah.
I'm really starting to see how Strapi could be so valuable for us as architects.
And we're just getting started.
I was going to say.
There's just so much more to explore, like plugins, middleware,
Ooh, yeah.
advanced features for content scheduling, SEO optimization.
Yeah. Well, okay, well, I'm definitely intrigued.
Okay.
But for now, I think our listeners have a good grasp of those core concepts of Strapi
Yeah.
and why it's generating so much excitement in the development world.
As architects, we're always looking for tools that not only give us powerful capabilities,
But also streamline our workflows and just enhance that whole development experience.
definitely.
So what else does Strapi have in store for us?
Well, one area where Strapi really shines is its attention to developer experience.
Okay.
It's not just about having the features. It's
Yeah.
about making them easy to use, easy to integrate into our workflows.
Right.
For example, Strapi has a really intuitive and customizable admin panel.
Ah, so we're not just talking about a back-end system for developers.
Right.
This admin panel lets non-technical team members,
Exactly.
like content editors,
Yeah.
marketers,
Yeah.
manage content without having to write any code.
That's a huge win.
It is. For collaboration, for efficiency,
Absolutely.
that's great.
Yeah. So the admin panel gives them a user-friendly interface
Okay.
to manage everything.
Okay.
From creating and editing entries to managing media, configuring settings.
So it's intuitive enough for those non-technical users,
It is.
but it still gives us that flexibility and power as developers.
Yes, definitely.
That's a great balance to strike.
It is.
It means we can empower our content teams to work independently
Yes.
while still having that control
Sure.
over the underlying structure, the functionality of our application.
Exactly.
That's awesome.
And speaking of control, Strapi doesn't just give you control over content.
Okay.
You have control over the admin panel itself.
Oh, cool.
You can customize the look and feel to match your project's branding,
Okay.
or just make it a more personalized experience for your team.
So we're not stuck with that generic one-size-fits-all interface.
No.
We can tailor it to our specific needs.
Exactly. You can make custom themes, adjust layouts,
Yeah.
even add your own components
Nice.
to the admin panel.
I could see how that flexibility would be so valuable.
Is.
And you can create this really tailored experience for your content teams,
Yeah.
which ultimately leads to greater efficiency and productivity.
Absolutely.
It seems like this extensibility is a recurring theme with Strapi.
It is.
Earlier, we were talking about plugins and middleware.
Yes.
Can you talk a little bit more about how those can be used to further extend Strapi's functionality?
Of course. Plugins and middleware are essential to Strapi.
Okay.
They let you add that custom functionality
Whoa.
to your application without having to change Strapi's core code.
I see.
You can find tons of pre-built plugins in the Strapi marketplace.
Oh, cool.
They cover things like integrating with third-party services to adding new content types and features.
So if we need to integrate with, let's say, a payment gateway or a marketing automation platform,
Right.
we don't have to start from scratch.
You don't.
We can just find a plugin.
Exactly.
That does it for us. That's awesome.
And if you have a really specific need that isn't covered by a plugin,
Yeah.
you can make your own.
Oh, wow.
Strapi has a really well-documented API,
Okay.
a really robust plugin development framework.
That's great.
Makes it easy to extend the platform to meet your needs.
As architects, that flexibility and power is
Yes.
something we really appreciate.
I agree.
It lets us create those solutions that are tailored to our needs without being limited by a closed source platform.
Yeah, for sure.
But what about working with data from other systems?
Okay.
We often have these scenarios where we need to migrate data from an old system or integrate with external data sources.
Right.
Can Strapi handle that?
Yeah, Strapi has data migration tools
Well,
that make it
fine.
really easy to import data from other systems.
Okay.
They can handle a variety of formats like
Okay.
CSV, JSON, XML.
So you can bring your existing content into Strapi without starting from scratch.
Exactly. Saves you so much time and effort.
It does.
Reduces that risk of losing data.
Yeah, that's really important for any migration project.
It is.
I like that.
And Strapi's API-first approach makes integrating with other systems pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
You can use the RESTful or GraphQL API
Okay.
to pull data from those external sources
Right.
and integrate it into your Strapi application.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
Means we can use Strapi as that central hub for managing all of our content,
Yes.
no matter where it comes from.
Exactly.
We can pull in data from different sources,
Yep.
process it,
Mm-hmm.
and then expose it through Strapi's API to
Exactly.
our front-end applications.
It gives you a lot of flexibility
It does.
in how you architect your system.
Yeah.
Allows you to create a truly integrated content management solution.
And speaking of integration, Strapi also have this really useful feature called webhooks.
Yes, webhooks are great.
Okay, tell me more about these webhooks.
Sure.
How do they fit into the whole architecture?
So webhooks let you trigger actions in external systems based on events that happen in Strapi.
Okay.
Like you could set up a webhook to send a notification to a Slack channel every time a new blog post is published.
Okay.
Or you could trigger a build process
Right.
in your CI/CD pipeline when content is updated.
So it's a way to automate tasks,
Yes.
keep different systems in sync without having to write a lot of custom integration code.
Exactly.
That's a really powerful feature.
It is for streamlining our workflows.
For sure.
Very cool.
Yeah. Opens up a lot of possibilities for integrating Strapi with the other tools that we use.
That's great.
Mm,
It sounds like Strapi has really thought through what developers and architects need
I think so.
and provided a comprehensive set of tools and features to address those needs.
I agree. And one of the things that really impresses me about Strapi is its commitment to performance and efficiency.
That's something we haven't really talked about yet,
Right.
but as architects, it's definitely a top priority.
It is.
We need to make sure that the tools we choose can handle the demands of high-traffic applications,
Yeah.
complex data models.
For sure.
So how does Strapi approach performance optimization?
Well, Strapi is designed with performance in mind.
Okay.
It uses efficient data fetching and rendering techniques.
Okay.
And it supports caching mechanisms
Yeah.
that can really reduce server load
Okay.
and speed up content delivery.
So as our projects grow, content grows.
We can be confident that Strapi will keep up and keep delivering that content quickly.
That's the goal.
Okay.
And Strapi provides a lot of tools and configuration options
Okay.
that let you really fine-tune the performance.
Okay, so I'm hearing a lot about flexibility, extensibility, performance,
Yes.
all of which are music to my ears as an architect.
Yeah, for sure.
But what about security?
Okay.
Earlier, we touched on some of those built-in security features.
Right.
But I'm curious to hear more about how Strapi makes sure that our data is protected and our applications are secure.
So security is a top priority for Strapi.
Okay.
They've implemented a multi-layered approach to protect your application and your data.
Can you give me some specific examples of what those layers look like?
Of course. So one of the most important aspects of security is access control.
Okay.
Strapi uses role-based access control, RBAC.
Mm,
It lets you define permissions for different user roles.
okay.
You can control who can see what content,
Right.
who can create and edit content,
Yeah.
who can manage administrative functions.
That's essential for any application that handles sensitive information.
Absolutely.
We need to control access at a granular level
Yeah.
to make sure that only authorized users can view or modify that sensitive data.
Exactly. And Strapi's RBAC system is really flexible.
Okay. Got it.
Lets you create custom roles and permissions
Nice.
that align with your security requirements.
Okay, so we've got access control. What else?
Another key area is data validation and sanitization.
Okay.
Strapi has built-in mechanisms for validating data that comes into the API,
Okay.
making sure that it meets the right format and criteria.
That's crucial for preventing vulnerabilities,
It is.
like SQL injection, cross-site scripting attacks.
Exactly. And Strapi also sanitizes data
Okay.
before it gets stored in the database,
Okay.
removing anything potentially harmful that could compromise your system.
So it's not just validating data.
Right.
It's about making sure that the data is stored securely,
Exactly.
protected from unauthorized access.
Absolutely. Strapi also implements those security best practices for password management,
Okay.
API security, and protection against those common web attacks.
Like DDoS attacks and things like that.
Exactly.
So it sounds like Strapi takes security very seriously.
They do.
They've implemented a lot of different measures to protect our applications and our data.
Absolutely. And they're always updating those security measures
Okay, good.
to address new threats and vulnerabilities.
That's essential in today's security landscape.
It is. We need to know that the tools we're choosing are staying ahead of the curve.
Right, providing those latest security protections.
Strapi has a great track record with this.
Okay, good.
They have a security team
Okay,
that's constantly monitoring for new threats.
okay.
And they're always releasing those security updates to address issues when they're discovered.
It sounds like we can be confident that Strapi is taking security seriously.
Yes.
And committed to providing a secure platform for our applications.
Absolutely. And for us as architects, security is one of those things we can never overlook.
No, we can't.
It's got to be a part of every decision we make.
For sure.
From the tools to how we design our systems.
Absolutely. And Strapi seems to provide a really solid foundation.
It does.
For building those secure and reliable applications.
It does.
Okay, we've covered a lot here, the developer experience,
Yeah.
extensibility, performance, security.
Mm-hmm.
But there's one more area I think is important for us as architects.
Okay.
SEO optimization.
Right.
We often work on these content-heavy projects.
Yeah.
Where visibility, discoverability, they're key.
They are.
So how does Strapi help us make sure that our content is optimized for those search engines?
SEO is another area where Strapi shines.
Okay.
It has all these built-in tools and features
Okay.
that make it easy to optimize your content for search engines and boost your website's ranking.
Can you give me some specific examples?
Sure. So one of the most important things about SEO is having well-structured content. With clear, relevant keywords,
Right. Yeah.
Strapi makes it easy to create and manage your content. You can define custom content types, add metadata like titles and descriptions, organize your content in a way that makes sense for users and search engines.
So it's not just about creating content, it's about structuring it so that search engines can understand it and index it.
Exactly. And Strapi gives you a lot of features to do this effectively.
Okay.
You can create those custom slugs for your content URLs, add alt text to images, even generate sitemaps to help search engines crawl your website.
Those are all really essential elements of a good SEO strategy. It sounds like Strapi has integrated all those features directly into the platform.
They have.
Which makes it so much easier to manage our SEO efforts.
It does. And if you need even more advanced SEO capabilities, Strapi integrates really well with popular SEO plugins and tools.
Okay, so we've got content structure.
Yes.
Metadata.
Uh-huh.
What about things like performance and mobile responsiveness?
Okay.
Those are important for SEO too, right?
They are, and Strapi addresses those areas as well.
Good.
We talked about how it's designed for performance and efficiency,
Right.
which is key for SEO because search engines, like websites that load quickly and provide a good user experience.
Right.
And Strapi makes it easy to create mobile responsive websites.
Oh, good.
Making sure your content looks good and works well on all devices.
That's great.
Yeah.
It seems like Strapi has a really comprehensive approach to SEO.
Absolutely.
Covering all those key areas that we need to think about as architects.
It does. One of the things I like about Strapi is that it takes that holistic approach to SEO and integrates it into the core of the platform. It's not an afterthought.
Right. Which makes a huge difference in how usable it is and how effective it is.
Exactly. You know, picking up where we left off, let's really dig into how Strapi helps us tackle SEO effectively. As architects, we're not just building systems, we're building experiences.
Right.
And those experiences need to be discoverable.
That's a great point, because a beautiful application is useless if nobody can find it.
Exactly.
So how does Strapi help us bridge that gap between the technical architecture and content visibility?
Well, like I was saying before, Strapi doesn't treat SEO as an afterthought. It's
Right.
built right in.
Okay.
For example, when we're defining those custom content types,
Yeah.
Strapi makes it easy to add things like meta titles, descriptions, keywords,
Okay.
all that stuff that helps search engines understand what our content is about.
So we're not jumping between tools or plugins to handle SEO.
Nope.
It's all in one place.
Exactly. It's all integrated, which
Yeah.
makes a huge difference for efficiency and consistency.
That's great.
Strapi also gives us control over other important SEO stuff, like generating XML sitemaps and customizing URLs,
Okay.
making those human-readable URLs.
Right, those slugs
Yeah, exactly, those slugs.
that make sense to users in search engines.
Exactly, and that level of control is so important, especially when you're working on big projects with tons of content.
Yeah, absolutely.
It lets us fine-tune our strategy and make sure everything is optimized.
I like it.
And there are a couple of other Strapi features I think are worth mentioning, specifically for SEO.
Okay.
First, Strapi makes it super easy to add structured data to your content.
Now, for our listeners who might not be familiar with structured data,
Right.
can you quickly explain what that is and why it matters for SEO?
Sure, structured data is basically a way to mark up your content,
Okay.
so search engines can better understand it.
Okay.
It's like adding labels to your content.
Okay.
And say, this is a product, or this is an article.
I see.
And this helps search engines show your content in the right search results,
Got it.
which means more traffic to your website.
So adding structured data gives search engines a clearer picture of what our content is all about, which
Exactly.
helps them rank it more accurately.
Exactly. And Strapi has a simple interface for adding that structured data.
Nice. So it's easy to use.
It is.
And you said there was a second feature.
Oh, right. The second feature is managing Open Graph and Twitter card tags.
Okay.
These tags are essential for controlling how your content looks when it's shared on social media.
Oh, right. Those little preview snippets you see when you share a link on Facebook or Twitter.
Exactly.
Okay.
And by customizing them, you can make sure your content looks good and is informative,
Yeah.
which hopefully gets people to click through to your website.
So it's not just about ranking in search engines. It's about the whole sharing experience.
Yes, exactly.
Making sure it's optimized for visibility and engagement.
Precisely. And Strapi lets you manage all of that from one platform.
I think we've really covered a lot today.
We have.
We've gone over Strapi's headless architecture, its API-first approach, content modeling, extensibility, performance, security,
Yeah.
even SEO.
Good luck.
I'm really impressed with what Strapi offers, especially as an architect.
I agree. Strapi is a really compelling platform, especially for architects and developers who want a modern, flexible, and powerful CMS. It gives us what we need to build all kinds of applications, from simple websites to complex content-heavy systems.
And it does it in a way that's both developer-friendly and, like you said, architecturally sound.
Yes, exactly.
I think our listeners are leaving with a good understanding of why Strapi is getting so much attention
I hope so.
and why they should consider it for their next project.
Yeah, for those who are ready to dive in, I'd recommend checking out the Strapi website.
Okay.
They have great documentation, tutorials, and a really active community forum.
Nice. And as always, we encourage our listeners to share their thoughts and experiences.
Yes, please do.
Have you used Strapi? What are your favorite features? What challenges have you come across? We want to hear from you.
We're always learning from our listeners.
To wrap things up, I want to leave our listeners with this thought. As architects, we're always searching for the right tools.
Yes.
Tools that let us build better, more scalable, more secure applications. And Strapi is definitely a tool you should have on your radar.
It is.
It's a platform that can help you take your projects to that next level.
Absolutely.
And it's one that I highly recommend checking out.
I agree.
It's been great diving into Strapi with you.
It has. It's been a pleasure.
To our listeners, thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Thanks, everyone.
Until next time, keep learning, keep exploring, and keep building amazing things.